it's Nadine in the Quiltmobile. What I'm doing today is announcing our 500 subscriber giveaway. So we have actually reached the 1,000 subscriber count, and I'll be announcing that later on. But what I have today, I will show you. All you have to do is go in and give me a comment and say, let's see, I'm all in. And that means that you want to be included in the drawing. That way, if anybody is just scanning for a giveaway, that I'll know you're serious about that. So we do have this 500 subscriber giveaway, and it is this right here. It's a nice cuddly throw size quilt. It was our 5-yard quilt, and we've shown this on a few of our quilt shows that we've done in the past. And it had a little sign that said, look out for our giveaway. So this is what we're doing. I'm going to open it from 2 weeks from today. I don't know when this video is going to be posted, so I'm not going to say the date. I'll post it in the description, the drawing date on this one. So what we did is we sold all the kits for this quilt. It's got a nice fleece backing on it. So this can be yours. And it's just to say thank you. Thank you to our subscribers. And then, as you see here, this one to the side of me is the same pattern. And what these are is a 5-yard quilt. And we will always have a 5-yard quilt kit on the Quiltmobile. So it's the price point on it, they're $50. That includes everything for the top and the binding. It does not include the backing, and it includes the pattern. It's a free downloadable on the internet, and I'll try to post that on our website, and I'll put that in the description as well. And so the other thing that I would like to show you is, I showed this on one of our videos a few videos back, and this is the pineapple block quilt. And I had this, I had the top, just the blocks done, but now I've got the borders on it. I put a skinny border and then a wide border in the same fabric, and this is it. Try to stand back so you can see it. I'll measure it and put the dimensions on here. And I do have a few advantages of how I made this pineapple block, and I want to put this on a video. I'll put this directly after this part of the video. So if you're interested in seeing my advantages of how I did this, by all means, please stick around and I'll show you an easy way to use these. And it also utilizes your fabrics. You don't have much waste on these as you would if you were to use like a jelly roll, anything like that. So stick with me and I'll give you the advantages of making this block. Welcome back. Today I want to show you what I have in store using some beautiful Moda fabrics for our pineapple quilt blocks. I'm going to be posting some pictures of a few advantages of making this block. There's a few of videos out there using the Creative Grids pineapple block, and let me show this to you. And it's made with this one, and it is just wonderful. I love Creative Grid blocks. You can scan this barcode right here if you have a bunch of templates. You can see what this is used for. It automatically brings up things on your phone or your iPad or some kind of computer device, and you can see exactly what these templates are used for. They have all kinds of demos on there that they use, and they are absolutely wonderful. I know I had mentioned this earlier in this video, but this quilt is using the Moda Gradients 2 fabric, and it is just so beautiful. You have so many variations of colors in here. You're looking at bolds and pastels and all different variety of colors between the lavenders, yellows. It's just such a beautiful variety of colors. So I want to walk you through and show you how this this quilt kind of came to be on placing different color arrangements. So right here, I just want to show you that as I cut the strips, I tried keeping some of the pastels together and the bold bright reds with the pinks and oranges, the lavenders. Whatever color came about, I tried to touch it to another color. My first tip on this is to use 1 3/4 inch wide strips. I know I mentioned it earlier, but if you use a 2.5 inch jelly roll, you're going to waste a good 3/4 inch strip of your fabrics. And at the end of this video, I'll show you the little bit of waste that I did have while using these 1 3/4 strips. And I usually cut about, I would go by a dozen strips. I'd call it my cutting out a batch of strips and then a batch of my other rectangles, and we'll get into that next here coming up. So this is a picture of my white strips, same thing, 1 3/4 inch wide strips. And then this is the dimensions of each rectangle that I use. So I cut everything out in batches. I would cut a dozen or so, maybe even more, depending on if I knew I was going to make a big quilt, you know. And I think I made 16 blocks total for the quilt that I showed in this video. So for 16, you need 4 rectangles per block. So you could go ahead and times that by 4 and cut as many of these rectangles as you would need to build up every block for your quilt, so that you're not cutting and then going to your sewing machine. Then you will also need your 2.5 by 2.5 inch squares for the center of this block. So I would have cut 16 of these. In this section, you're going to take 4 2.5 inch by 1 3/4 inch strips. And the first thing you're going to do is just sew 1 on each side first, and then come back and add the other 2 to each side. You can see here I have one set sewn on here. I press that and then come back and place those other 2 on the other side. And then once they're all 4 put on here, then you will go ahead and use that centering square round 1. I'm not going to get into much detail on the actual trimming of this block. I just wanted to give some of my tips. There's a lot of great videos out there, and I will definitely put the link in the description below on to watch this. I just thought it'd be nice to watch you can kind of freeze frame it and study the lines on these rulers, and you'll be able to know which lines exactly to use on this block. Now we're adding our 3.5 inch strips, and I left a little bit of that selvage on there just to show you that will not hurt once we trim our block. At this point, you won't even be able to see that, so that is just fine. I'm not saying to dip into your selvage, but if you do make a little bit of an oops on that, you'll see that it won't show on your block. So this is the same technique. You're going to do 1 set, 1 on each side first. Go give that a good pressing, and then come back and you'll add the other 2 on the other side. And then it'll get faster and easier once you get these 2 sections done here. And then you're going to go ahead and trim that. And notice I have the round 2 block on that center square, and then you're going to go ahead and trim each side of those up. Now grab those 3 3/4 inch wide strips, and you're going to attach, and this round you can go ahead and place all 4 of those on there. So you're seeing a little bit of a diagonal on each corner, so you don't have to do 1 set and then press and then come back and do another. You have enough room on each side to go ahead and sew around the whole square. I wanted to show this photo here. I put my black arrows on that white line going one direction, and then you see the dashed lines coming down from that. You want to center that down the center part of the block, and then I use that white line to go across the floral part, and then you're going to trim off those little white triangles on the end. Jennifer at Shabby Fabrics brought that up as using it as a runway at the airport because she was an airline pilot, and that just really sunk in so well, and I will always remember that. And I will definitely link her video in the description of this. She gives a great tutorial on using this template. Now here's where you can get into some fun with using this fabric, because what I've done here is I am taking the colors that I think will blend well. I'm using that green pastel on the right, and then a little bit of blue that's going to match that one on the top, and then a bold on the left side of this picture. And you're seeing some notches on the side of each corner, some diagonal lines. So there you only need enough fabric to go from one corner of the fabric to the next, and where those diagonal lines are, you don't need to worry about those at all. So you're going to save some fabric by not overcutting on that. So you will use your 4.5 inch rectangles on this part. And right here I'm just showing you how you can, I put each piece on here and I took it right to the sewing machine. I did not pin it, and I was able to just sew around all 4 edges of my fabric. It comes together so quickly during this step. And then right here it just shows how I was able to take each one of my seams and do them continuously. And this is after taking them to the ironing board and pressing those seams out. And then we'll go ahead and trim this section up here. And you'll see here I have the centering square round 6 placed in the center of this phase. And I am just trimming up around each edge. And you'll see how little of waste on at this part right here, that there really is not much waste at this point. And right here, we're just adding our white on here again, and you see that those diagonal corners, they just get bigger and bigger as we go. And so really the only coverage of fabric is on those straight lines down there, and we're using our 4.5 inch white rectangles on this part. And then right here it just shows again that you can take, I put all 4 of these pieces on there and took it directly to the sewing machine and I sewed all 4 at the same time. And then here again, we take it to our template, and you'll see the black arrows with that white line going down. Line that up on your floral and trim that right up. After you do each round, you'll definitely want to take them to the ironing board and press them, or you can have a little pad right next to your machine, and you can get these done so quickly. And then you'll also, what comes in handy is if you have each one of your sizes right next to you, you can just kind of play with them as you sit down at the sewing machine, play with them, add the sections on there as you go, and seriously, it's just such a quick block to throw together, and I absolutely had a fun time doing these. So here on round 6, you're using your 5.5 inch floral rectangles to add on to those. And I'm just showing you how each one of those diagonals just gets bigger and bigger, and you can just sew those right on. My last tip on this block is for each corner, you're going to want to take a 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 square, and then you will cut those in half. You're going to make 4 half square triangles per each block, and this just saves so much fabric. Then you're going to center that on each corner of your fabric. And then you'll take that to the sewing machine and sew just the corners on these blocks, and that is it. And then you're going to square it up, and I'll show a picture on that one. But this is literally the only waste that I had from trimming up around the outside corners of this block. This is all of the waste that I did have making this quilt block. I truly hope that this video helps you in some way to try to build your own pineapple block quilt. This was just a fun project to take on, and I hope that this is passed down, that you will find the same fun that I had on this one. I really enjoyed making this quilt.